Hello, Starshine. My name is Liz, and this is my channel, Simsational Stories. If you have not seen my videos before and you enjoy this one, please like and subscribe. And maybe check out my Facebook page, where this whole thing began, as well. All relevant links are in the description below, and of course, if you're a Sims player and you'd like to download any of the characters featured in my stories, just search the hashtag Simsational Stories on the Sims 4 gallery. All original content is created by This Is Not Eric. Alrighty then. So, welcome. And what is up, Buttercup? Are you having a good day or a bad day? Whichever your answer, please allow me to distract you from your life and tell you a story, a Simsational story. Before I begin though, I'd like to issue this blanket content and trigger warning. The following story is just Sims, hey. I'm not going to apologise for treating them terribly, if that's what I've done. But I do want to assure you now that although I mean absolutely no harm, I completely understand if you feel unable to consume my content. Many loves, and we will catch each other on the internet elsewhere. Okay, so now we've gotten that over with, let's go. Today's story is from Audre Whitman, The Audacious Maid, and we're at chapter 5. If you have not seen previous chapters and would like to catch up, there are playlists available on my channel so you can hear the entire story in chronological order. The rest of us are going to move on from where we left off last time though, so without further ado. At first, when Audre told Anton that she was pregnant, he had not reacted well. She had not been that surprised though, because they were already going through a lot. Anton was divorcing his ex-wife, actress Anastasia Lewis, and Anastasia had only just released a viral vlog trashing Anton for cheating on her with Audre at the end of their marriage, and everyone was talking about it. Audre and Anton had very nearly broken up over it. Audre had even been fired from her job at a local bistro. To now be pregnant on top of all of that? Well, it was a plot twist Anton could have done without. Still, within a few days, Anton had recovered himself and his composure and was ready to do the right thing by his child. He took Audre out to dinner at a fancy Italian restaurant and apologized for how he'd originally reacted to her big news. He had been in shock. This wasn't quite what they had planned, but now he was used to the idea of it. He knew that they were ready and could do this. It would be good for them. He couldn't wait for them to have a baby. After dinner, Anton took Audre for a walk around the moonlit gardens surrounding the restaurant. As they approached the lily pond, he turned to her and held both her hands in his as he looked down into her creamy caramel eyes. She had always been so kind and so faithful to him, and now she was carrying his baby. He told her that she had mesmerized him from the moment that they had met, and that he was sure she was the one. Getting down on one knee, Anton pulled the ring from his pocket and asked Audre Claire Whitman to marry him. It was like something out of a fairy tale. He had made sure that everything about that night was perfect for her, and Audre accepted in a heartbeat. Of course she would marry him. She was having his baby and they were going to start a family together. They may as well do it right. Anton would obviously have to finish divorcing Anastasia first, but that was almost done anyway. He signed the papers the very next week. Until he'd found out that Audre was pregnant, Anton had been fighting Anastasia on many fronts, from spousal support to the china his mother had given them that he knew she loved and wanted to keep. But now that he had decided to marry Audre, Anton was done with Anastasia. He wanted nothing more to do with her and nothing more from her. She could have it all, even the china, because he was moving on. The fact that he was going to have the life Anastasia had always wanted with someone else definitely didn't escape Anton, though. That was what made everything else not matter. Anastasia could lie to the public, but she couldn't lie to herself. She was going to be miserable and alone without him, while he had the baby she could never give him with Audre. They had had scans done and had discovered that she was having a girl. Anastasia had always wanted a little girl. As Audrey's pregnancy progressed, she became more and more excited. Now that the divorce was settled, she was finally feeling better about her relationship with Anton, and she was excited to plan their wedding. She wanted to get married before they had the baby, of course, but that didn't leave them much time. There was so much to do. Audrey wanted a big, beautiful wedding, as magical as the night Anton had proposed to her. Anton ruined all those plans, though, when he declared that Audrey was being ridiculous, and they couldn't possibly afford half the things she wanted. They weren't going to have horse-drawn carriages and waiters. They were just going to have a simple wedding at the local church with the reception in the courtyard outside, just like every other normal person. They weren't celebrities like Anastasia, and they weren't going to behave like it. Audrey argued that she deserved this after everything Anton had put her through. She was going to be the mother of his child, and she wanted to stand up in front of the whole world and have him declare his love for her properly. The bigger the ceremony, the better. Everyone needed to know that she was his and he was hers, and that their new life together was real and meant something. Too many people saw her as nothing but the home-wrecking mistress, and, darn it, she was worth more than that. Couldn't Anton see that? Of course Anton understood that she had insecurities about how their relationship had begun. She had been the young, sexy maid, and she had lured him away from his wife of over a decade. And thanks to Anastasia's vlog, thousands of people had an opinion on them and their relationship. But didn't she see? Nothing they did would ever appease their haters. They were always going to think that she was just trapping him with this baby and this marriage. It didn't matter what they did. Those people would always hate them. And so they shouldn't let themselves be controlled. They should just do what they wanted to do. In the end, Anton, once again, got his way. They had a simple ceremony at the local church, and by the time they got there, Audrey was feeling so sick, sore, and bloated that she almost didn't care anymore that nothing was how she'd originally wanted her wedding to be. Who cared that the photographer had called in sick? She had been getting stomach cramps all day, and her back was killing her. And so Audrey Whitman married Anton Lewis under a simple garland of lilies and roses, with no doves released as they were declared man and wife, and just a handful of witnesses rather than the gaggle of guests Audrey had once envisioned. It didn't matter, though. All that mattered was that they were married now. Mr. and Mrs. Anton and Audrey Lewis had just cut the cake and were ready to start enjoying the reception when Audrey felt something strange. Was that wetness? Between her legs? Oh no. Was her water breaking? Surely not. They hadn't even had a chance to take their wedding photos yet. This was awful. She wasn't due for another 2 weeks. How could this be happening now? But it was happening all right. Audrey and Anton were in such a hurry to get to the hospital that they arrived in their wedding clothes. Anton seemed somewhat distracted by something on his phone, which worried and annoyed Audrey at the time. But she soon forgot about that as the pain of her contractions overtook her. Here came their baby! Anton and Audrey Lewis's daughter, Cassandra Lewis, was born healthy and beautiful. Audrey felt her heart split in two in the most wonderful way as her daughter came into the world, and even Anton shed a tear or two looking down at his tiny newborn daughter. She was a little part of him and Audrey that they had created together, and it was magical. She really was a little angel, their darling Cassandra. She was so cute. They had made sure to prepare everything that they could for her, from nappies to knitted onesies. Audrey had taken up knitting during her pregnancy, but of course, nothing ever really prepares you for the true reality of parenting. It was a whole new ballgame now. Would they really be able to cope? And that brings us to the end of Chapter 5 of Audre Whitman, The Audacious Maid. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe so you can tune in soon to hear the next chapter. Or like I said, look us up on Facebook. Bye!